Good morning, everybody. How are you? I'm going to move my microphone. You may not hear me for a second, but show you Lucy because she's looking up now. Move it this way. It don't work. Okay. But she's there. It's not doing the right thing, but she's there. She's looking up at me today. She feels all right, I think. I hope, anyhow. All right. So I got a couple of stories for you. One you should really not you should expect. There's three. There's the Taco Trump story, which I think I went over yesterday. You know, he's going to probably do the same thing again this time. You never know. But the really, in conjunction with that, the big issue was that he fired the Labor Department employee that was in charge of the jobs report. He fired them because he thought the jobs report was bad. He thought it didn't agree with him and didn't show him in a good light, so he fired him and said that it was fake and that he did it. Now here's the deal with Donald Trump, and he did this a lot in his first term. If you disagreed with him, you found yourself out on the street, you know, because he runs it like he ran the television show, you know, The Apprentice. If you disagreed with him, you were fired. Well, that's the same thing the way he acts now. If you disagree with him, you're fired. That is not good for the country, because now he's running a country on false statistics. He's running the country on what he believes is going on, not what is actually happening. So we're going to wake up one morning and be in a depression. And there's absolutely nothing we're going to be able to do about this one, you know, right away, because you don't have a politician in there that knows what the hell they're doing. I mean, you know, everybody says Hedges is incompetent. The Republicans say he's incompetent, that he doesn't know what he's doing, that he gave away vital information, and he's not, you know, he's not the one you want in office when you're moving submarines around the world. Well, he's an ass kisser, and that's all Trump wants. Trump wants an ass kisser. He doesn't care if they're qualified. Qualified people will tell him he's wrong or try to talk him out of things, and he doesn't want that. He doesn't want advice. He doesn't take advice, and he absolutely doesn't want to sit there and have to say to people, well, I guess I made a mistake. That's not going to happen. All right? He doesn't make mistakes. He's a pure genius. Don't you know that? Wow, we're fucked. You know, this is a point in time where being old is an enjoyable thing, because I'm not going to be here to see the total effect of his screw up. If I am, I'm not going to know. I'm not going to be able to. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm messing my hair up. I don't know if I'm going to be around oh, fuck it. To understand it and comprehend it, because I'll be senile by the time, you know, he gets out of office, if I'm still alive. And it's just an amazing thing that you watch this guy, and it's like you're looking at a color, and the color's blue, but he says it's red. And he says, "I'm sorry, Mr. President, but that's blue. You're fired." That's not an exaggeration. That's the way he operates. This is why Hegseth is still there. This is why Robert F. Kennedy is still there. This is why all of these people in the cabinet are still there, because they don't fight him. They just say, "Yes, sir. You're absolutely correct. Of course, sir. Whatever you say, sir." The president's never wrong. You know, that's how he got his immunity. He says, because he says, now I can do whatever I want to do because I can't be wrong. And I'll tell you something about this particular president. he's wrong a lot more than he's right. Okay? I'm not so sure that the moving of the submarines was that big an issue, but announcing that they were moving them on his website was a big issue. A very big issue. And I'm sorry, but that's just, Donald Trump. So, we have that issue, along with Taco Trump. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. We'll have to wait and see what happens. You know, of course, that they closed the Senate down because they didn't want it. They shut Congress down because they didn't want to discuss the Epstein file, so we don't know what's going to happen with that one. Life is just a beautiful bowl of shit right now, folks. I'm not saying that everything he does is bad. I'm not saying that it possibly exists for some of the stuff to be correct, but I believe that with the immigration issue, that's a racist issue. That's not an immigration issue, and that's all about race. It has nothing to do with the actual immigration issues, because as they say, you're going to have agricultural problems. And they're saying, do automation. Well, you can't pick strawberries with machines. If you could, they would have done it a long time ago. And the price of everything's going to go sky high if they do machines. You say, well, why would it go sky high? Because they got to buy the machines. Okay? Machines cost more than the labor does. And then they have to have maintenance done on them all the time. They break. So the first 2 or 3 years, the machines are fine. After that, they start to need more maintenance. And the more maintenance they need, the more impractical they become in certain aspects of agriculture. All right? Okay. So let's keep going here. What's next on my agenda? Oh, let's go to the other side of the aisle. Harris has announced that she's not going to run for governor of California. I think that's a very good idea. Don't get me wrong. I don't think she'll win. And that's something that I don't think anybody else thinks, especially in the Democratic side. And then she's going to say she's going to run for president. Well, if she runs for president, she's not going to be running against, sleepy Donald Trump thing. She's going to be running against probably J.D. Vance. And I have to tell you, J.D. Vance is as smart as she is. All right, he's an idiot. He's a crook. He's a liar. He's a cheat. He's two-faced, but he's smarter than she is. All right, so that's going to cause some serious problems. Not many people like him, and maybe he could be beat around for a basis of personality, and assuming that the Trump government goes in the toilet between now and then. But I wouldn't bet on any of these things happening. So what are you going to do? You're going to sit back and you're going to say that, hey, who are we going to run? I don't know. I have to look at it. I have a couple ideas, but I look at it from the aspect, can they win? They're good people, should be very much qualified to be president, but I don't think a couple of them can win due to certain things in their backgrounds and whatnot that'll become big issues. Okay? They shouldn't be issues, but they will become issues because it's the Republican Party, They play dirty. Democrats just don't play. They're stupid. And I'm getting tired of this, and I think maybe Musk was right. Maybe it is time for a third party, but not Musk's party. Because Musk's party is going to be, an apartheid party. He's a racist, and you can't have a racist running a political party. So, what's to happen now? I mean, people say, well, what? People are going to say, why am I saying Harris? Well, think about it. From January to August, she really didn't say much. She didn't comment on anything. She wasn't really in the public eye. At least as far as I can tell. I get my news off of international channels, not necessarily local news. So first of all, that she didn't fight back. What did I write down here? Yeah, she's past. She's past news. She's not new news. She can't come into. She said, "Well, I'm going to go around the country and talk to people." Well, if people are unhappy, they're going to say a lot of things. But are they going to say, "We'll vote for you, Kamala"? Because they said it the last time and then they didn't do it. A lot of them didn't do it. Why? You can't believe what people tell you unless you have an enforcement arm that like Trump has, and then people are going to do what they tell you to do, or they're going to face all kinds of prosecution and stuff like that. So I don't know. I kind of sit here and say to myself, I said, she's just. When she lost the election, I kept waiting to hear something from her, and I kept waiting and waiting. And I said, she can't run again. I don't think she could win the governorship either. Now that's people sitting there saying, "What are you? What are you talking about? She can't win the governorship." And I'm saying that I don't think she can. She's very, very popular in California. California's California is a really wild place to hang out. So, but that's what it is. I don't think she could win the governorship. And what is she going to do if she wins the governorship? She doesn't have the strength to go up against Trump. All right. She's smarter than Trump, but she doesn't have the strength to go up against Trump. Now, I don't know who out there has the sense. I like to see AOC or Buttigieg run, but they both have issues. AOC's age, I think, and Buttigieg is he's gay, and that's just not going to work. I don't care. I'm just saying that I can tell you the majority of the people in this country are not going to vote for him. And that's all you're going to hear about, You're going to see all kinds of stuff about him dealing with these Putin and whatnot because he's gay. And you're going to see a lot of that. So, I don't know what to tell you, folks. It's gonna be a long 3.5 years. Oh, if you've noticed that the articles this morning are saying he has made it impossible for anybody to do anything about the climate. Now you should really look at the movie Rollerball, which I think is from the 60s or 70s, and you see how the climate is after the industrials are all living on the moon, and they leave the Earth as a hulk of what it used to be, and you see all the pollution that's around, and people have to wear gas masks. Yeah, take a look at China when they had the fog problems, or the smog problems over there, all right? That's what you're looking at worldwide with this clown. He doesn't believe in science because science contradicts what he believes in. And you can't have that. He will not allow you to have a contrary opinion. And science is not going to sit down and do what he tells it to do. It's going to tell you the facts. Just like if you're a police investigator, they supposedly just deal in facts. Not Trump. Trump deals in maybes and how comes and what have yous. And I'm sorry, but that's not going to work. He's sitting there and he can't figure out Putin. And that's dangerous because he thought he knew Putin. He thought he knew all about him. Now he's staying out of negotiations really with Russia because he knows he can't negotiate with him. And he can't negotiate with China either. All right? China will tell you one thing and turn around and do another. China's building a navy that's far superior to ours. China's doing a lot of things. They're getting ready to make moves. And he's driving all of Africa towards China. And Africa's got all the minerals and the area to grow, agricultural and minerals and workforce, you know. And it's just stupid what he's doing. All right, it's Saturday. I won't be here tomorrow. I rest tomorrow. Unless something happens bad, then I'll come on and make a comment about it. But, you know, I'll have to go live if I do that. And I'm going to try and watch some football games tomorrow. So here it is. Subscribe to my, if you want to. I'm not ordering you to. You don't want to, look, do what you want to do. But I would appreciate it very much if you would subscribe, like, comment, subscribe to my website, to my channel. It's Jeffrey Bruff is the channel as far as I know, unless they change it. It's like if I go to any of the Mastodon channels that I'm on, it's at Jeffrey Bruff. You know, so it's different. There's no at with YouTube. It's just Jeffrey Bruff as far as I know. And I just put up humor on those other two channels for the most part. I'm not really into putting a lot of stuff on those things. But anyhow, do that for me, and I'd appreciate it. In the meantime, have a great Sunday, and I will see you Monday morning. Ciao.